what happened earlier this week in Chicago. So there was a lot of stuff going on, and the reason I want to talk about this, not so much because of what happened, but because I think it's a really good example of what is happening in Chicago and Portland. Right now, the primary focus is Chicago and the way it's being reported,
Mm-hmm.
and how, like, especially if you're engaged in a conversation where somebody's going to say to you that, ICE is violating, or, oh, did you hear how they just like
Rip people
had an
out of their houses
accident?
and their
Yeah.
cars.
Or,
Yeah.
all of these things. Like, I want to provide a breakdown of this particular story because I think it's a good representation about how these stories are being strategically,
Portrayed in the media.
disseminated.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, so you have just a general understanding what is going on there in Chicago. So earlier this week, there was some news that broke about an auto accident that happened on the southeast side of Chicago. And it was an ICE vehicle along with a red SUV. And the reports are that what happened was that the red SUV ended up having two illegal Venezuelans in the vehicle, and that when ICE approached them, that they tried to hit the ICE vehicle and then fled. And then in the process of fleeing, the ICE vehicle did a maneuver, which a
Mm-hmm.
maneuver is when you hit a side of the opposite side of the button, and it causes the vehicle to spin. Now,
Yeah.
this is a legal maneuver that is often done if it's done well, especially if you are engaged in a chase and you want to stop the chase because you're in like a public or busy area. So after that accident happened,
Mm-hmm.
people in the neighborhood started to come out, and it just
Of
kind of
course.
went from
Spiraled.
there.
It spiraled.
It spiraled. So I'm going to play this is a lot of this that I have here is local news reporting, because if you get the legacy media, you don't actually get the full
It's gonna look a
story.
little different.
So let me play this.
Now starting to put themselves in the middle of the, oh God. Protesters are starting to throw rocks. We're going to get away from the scene right now, Judy.
Okay, Michelle, you take care of yourself. I'm going to let her get off the phone. We really appreciate it. Get to a safe place. So what you're watching, what you continue to watch, is exactly what Michelle has been describing. This, again, at the intersection 105th and Avenue N. Last Michelle said is protesters started throwing rocks, and you can see that there is some chemical being deployed right there at this intersection just prior to this.
So those were, there's not an exact number I haven't been able to find an exact number of how many ICE officers were there. I've seen reports that 13 Chicago police officers responded and that they stepped in because the crowd was starting to
Get
move
feisty.
in and get feisty with the ICE agents. And then, as you heard, the reporters say someone's throwing rocks, and that caused ICE to deploy gas to cause the group to disperse. Now, if you guys aren't watching, there is a lot of people out on the street. Like, this isn't like a group of maybe 12 or something like that. I would say total, we're looking at 100 people out on the street. And I don't know exactly how that breaks down, if between agent and citizens, what have you. But the reports are that they were engaged in a 30-minute chase through the residential neighborhood near schools, which is what led the agents to do the pit maneuver to then stop the chase. Now, Bill Malugin with Fox News reported that these were two illegals from Venezuela that had deportation orders on them. And, he repeated the same story that upon trying to get them for arrest, that they fled and that the pit maneuver was conducted. Now, most of the reporting that I've been seeing has been like ICE caused an accident,
Right,
or something along those lines.
In fact, some of the reporting, the initial reporting I saw, and I haven't followed up this morning, but it was yesterday, right? Yeah. So last night when I was checking in, it didn't even put anything about illegal immigrants. It said, something like federal law enforcement causes accident in Chicago town or something like that. It left out completely that there were even illegal immigrants involved or immigrants at all. The one headline I saw basically obscured like the entire story and said federal law enforcement causes car wreck in Illinois or something
Oh,
like that.
wow.
And
I
so
didn't even miss.
yeah, I need to bookmark stuff more often, but I just went, that can't be the whole story. I'm pretty sure it's not. And come to find out, I was right.
Well, this was the follow because there is follow-up reporting because then there was some video, what looks like some camera, like, what do you call it? Like what do you call these doorbells?
The Ring doorbells?
Yeah, like a Ring doorbell camera. So
Arrest 2 people in Chicago illegally. Video shows the red SUV coming down Avenue M when the agents in the white SUV used a pit move. The red SUV spins out of control. The 2 people jumped out while the car is spinning. Agents followed. DHS says the driver originally tried to hit the agent's vehicle, and the feds used the pit move only after the driver refused to stop. Neighbors stepped outside, and DHS says people surrounded the agents. CPD responded to control the 2 sides. That's when things got heated and came to a standoff. CBS Skywatch, Cassidy.
First of
So,
all, that was a
yes.
great pit move. I'm not a law enforcement agent,
were
but
you impressed?
I was impressed because I've seen some really poorly done ones. That one was great. Also, I love that the protesters, they said they came out minutes later and they all just happened to have very, very large flags, like anti-ICE flags and whatnot ready. Like it's just
Well, and there was a
sitting
lot of
there.
like Mexican flags too being
Yeah.
waved and that sort of thing. Well, you're familiar with Ed Krasekstein? You know, the Krasekstein brothers
Yes,
online?
right.
So that
Mhm.
same pit move video that we just saw, that clearly that reporter specified that DHS claims that they did it after chasing them, that it was a pit
Yeah.
maneuver and
And that they
everything like
were
that.
illegal. He did say that. He made that
Correct.
very clear.
Krasenstein reported as DHS is blatantly lying to the American people about what's happening in Chicago.
That's
They
bold.
said that the red SUV allegedly carrying immigrants rammed their white SUV, and that's when they began using force. This video clearly shows that it was the white SUV ramming the red SUV.
Okay.
So that
Well, if people are getting their news, if their news source are the Krasesteins, Krasestein, listen, just don't get your news from them because they are so blatantly partisan that, I mean, even no.
Well, my point to sharing that is that that is clearly false. Okay.
Correct.
And he goes and he does a video about it
Yes.
too, where he's like narrating it and everything like that. But the issue is that there are people that this is how they're accessing their news, and
Right.
they're getting incorrect information
Yeah.
or very well parsed information before
or information completely taken out of context, or a video shot from a different angle and then spliced or stopped before something actually happened that is important to the story. That's
I
happening
actually
all over the
found,
place.
let me share this. I found this wild video because one of the issues that we've really been running into, or that DHS and ICE have been running into in Chicago, is not only the opposition from people coming out, but there have been multiple reports of people boxing them in and trying to prevent them from being able to either leave an area or transport someone.